Well, once again, it appears the plan trusters are unfortunately incorrect. They called us panicans. They said, will you finally admit that you're wrong? Will you just tell us that you called for World War III? You said everyone was going to die. Actually, I said nothing of that matter at all. All I said was we shouldn't intervene with Iran. It doesn't benefit us. And it's not going to really solve anything. And it turns out a very tired Donald Trump happens to agree with me. Listen to this.
Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
I'll accept some apologies from the last 24 hours. You know, basically all I was saying is there's no such thing as a ceasefire for the neocon Zionist movement. And someone always watches the show and they go, it's the first 2 minutes and we're already talking about Israel. But the world is talking about Israel. It's not whether or not we're talking about Israel. It's whether we're being accurate about them. And we're going to be talking about this war. Plus, Austin Metcalf murder has a new development. We find out that perhaps it was first-degree murder after all. Plus, some new rules on immigration. The Supreme Court reverses their order, pushing deportations to a new level. We're talking about this and so much more here on another episode of The Rift, live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's watch the show. My name's Elijah Schaefer. I am moving today. I've been moving all day. I got 2 kids, around 2 years old and younger. And I have a wife, which means I have 3 children who I love very much. And they are safe in an Airbnb. Got a couple of minorities help me to move my boxes. We call that a wonderful American moment. But I didn't get time to dress up or take a shower today. So apologies for that. Joining me today in the studio is a little bit of a stripped down crew. They got shirts on, but no pants. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Hey, what's going on? Michael Hennessy from Snowflake_News. Happy to be here. See, I'm the only one carrying on the dress code, but it's understandable. And from the looks like what Trump's saying, I guess we're playing, what is a 6 million D chest? Is that what we're doing this time?
Yeah, so the plan trusters once again have been vindicated. I think we already found out Q wasn't true, but we're past RST. We're at FUCK now. So he dropped the F-bomb. Trump is cool, man. Trump is cursing. He's
we're
skidding
so back.
and scatting. He's slurring and spurring. What a great moment that is. Yeah, I think that's where we're at.
Okay, we're so back, I guess. Yeah, so
Ladies
much
and gentlemen,
winning.
So much winning. Also, of course, joining us remote from Inuit Camp in Northern Canada. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Yeah, my name's Sarah Stock, of course. I've been on the show so many times before. I think this is my first time really calling in. So, first time for everything. I'm not in Canada, though, Elijah. I don't know why you think that. I'm in California right now. So.
She's in the belly of a walrus, actually, in the Inuit Mountains. I don't know what that is. I don't even know where that is. But it's
I don't think that's a real location.
Oh, where was that? That was
where she was supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It's interesting you're in LA, but you could have been in Florida, but you decided.
Just pretend I'm there.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have like a
pretend
fun
to be annoyed
drink.
and have to spend too much money on office lunches. Sorry. No, I'm messing around. We do miss you. We've appreciated you being here. People were wondering where you were. I told them you're still a part of the show. You only come around when you feel like it. Speaking of that, the reason why everyone watches the show, the author of the Mendoza Report, the man, the myth, the legend, tell us who you are, why you're here.
I don't know why, actually, but you can follow me on Twitter at Mike Mendoza JPG. You can follow me there.
That was actually a really deep answer, considering the fact that today's been a bit of a shit show. We do got to talk about it, though. For those of you that are just joining, last night, it was actually quite interesting because Trump announced that he had a ceasefire. And I was mocked relentlessly in the comments of our own show as being a non-planned truster. This new phrase from these individuals. Have you ever known these like Baptard people started using this phrase called panicking? You saw that? It was like a panicking. Like they started labeling those of us who have logic and facts. We used to call Ben Shapiro's hidden arsenal, right? Logic and facts. They started calling us panicins because, well, we've read the manifestos thanks to Sarah's Where the Right Went Wrong, the book club, which you'll find out how to win this Kindle here. We found out that they've been trying to invade Iran for about 30 years now. And they weren't going to give up just because Trump put out a tweet on his social media website, Truth Social. And it turned out we woke up. Did you know this? I did not know till today that Jewish people in Israel oftentimes are deceptively say they're one thing and they do the other. I found that out today for the first time. That's crazy.
Surprise, surprise. No, Where the Right Went Wrong is actually a very great book. I recommend everybody to go check it out, especially join the book club. I know we'll be having an episode air this Sunday, and it really dives deep into just the history of America and how we've gotten to this point as a conservative party. And it's also, they always say, you know, history repeats itself. And this is a perfect example. Once you read it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I encourage you to come check it out. We'd love to have you join.
All right, so let's just jump into that. So Trump said this. I want to just play the last part here real quickly. Trump was asked about what happened with the ceasefire. What really happened, this is where I'm going to jump into with Sarah and everybody, is apparently he called the ceasefire. We're going to play it one more time. And then what Israel did is they said, oh, hey, there was an attack on us. A few rockets were launched. And so we have to launch the largest attack on Iran since the start of this war, from what I read. The most tonnage of bombs dropped. However, all they really dropped on Tehran was basically Randy Fine's body. You know what I mean? So
well,
it really
that's big enough.
It wasn't a lot. But I thought the funniest part of this was that he was saying, even Trump's like, dude, these people are full of shit. He started cursing, going, look, yeah, if you're going to do a ceasefire, you don't begin by dropping a massive amount of bombs. And it turns out Iran is denying the fact that they even launched missiles, which I'm not saying they're honest. I'm not saying I believe them. But they're saying that it was a false flag, that Israel launched rockets at themselves and justified this. Listen to what, you can tell Trump knows something's up, okay? Barron's looking rough these days. Look at this.
Related to peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement, do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand?
Oh, okay, Sarah, I got to go to you on this. I feel like you've been writing this stuff online too. It's hard because we're not counter-signaling Trump. We're actually counter-signaling Israel because we're saying that Israel does not have Americans' interests at heart, and that he's going, look, Israel doesn't know what they're doing. I disagree. Israel does know what they're doing. America refuses to believe that Israel has a plan, and their plan is regime change and to wipe out Iran, and we want to pretend like they just want peace, but you know that's not what they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Trump is just fatigued at that point. Okay, why are you putting? Okay, he's obviously just fatigued. I think most of us are just fatigued in many different ways, but he's just tired of America being dragged around by Israel. Of course, they got us into this war, basically behind our back too. And then now it's like he's putting all this work into trying to keep the peace, and then it's like, on the 12th hour, they just try to go all in. It's like, that's not really a good way to keep the peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm glad to see Trump come out with this video with him actually showing some kind of frustration. A lot of us have been worrying that it's more of a puppet effect where the president just follows blindly to whatever Israel wants. And one thing I was glad to see it because when I was checking out Twitter X last night, a lot of people, and you can see who's really paid. Israel had a huge barrage that they dropped on Iran. They were trying to drop as much as they can, send over as many bombs as they can before the whole treaty went into effect. And I mean, that's in bad faith. But then as soon as, I guess you're saying that Iran's saying they didn't shoot back, but when I read that Iran fired back, every person on X was like, oh my God, Iran is ruining the treaty. Iran is attacking Israel, and then totally neglecting the fact that Israel actually was firing first, was unloading on them. And you can really see who those paid, influencers are, who's really just filling their pockets and not really giving a damn what the American people should know.
Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense. People are trying to accuse the critics of this war of being Trump haters. It's like, oh, you're not. Okay, first of all, Trump isn't God. I think it was like Charlie Kirk or someone like that was like, trust in Trump, trust in Trump. It's like, he's not God. You don't have to like put your faith in him. He's still a person. You know what I mean? It's kind of wild how some of people are acting about this, but it's like, in general, I do think Trump as an individual is anti-war. I don't think he wants us to be in this war in the Middle East or anything like that. He seemed just like annoyed that America got dragged into it, of course, and he's just trying to keep the peace. But at the end of the day, the Trump administration is a whole different story. There's so many, neocons and warmongers in the cabinet. Of course, Trump received millions of dollars from Miriam Adelson, and just the money and the donors and the special interests and the personnel in the administration all do want this war. So it's going to be pretty hard for Trump to not, to actually keep the peace. And then, of course, the fact that he wasn't able to do that kind of disappointed a lot of us, because I guess we were hoping it's like this one man against the system. Maybe he would be able to stop it, but that's just, it's not really realistic, I guess. And so that's why I personally was just super disappointed. And I was like, oh, like, what did I even vote for? It's kind of like blackpilling a little bit, but it's like, not saying I would have rather voted for Kamala, but it's just like, I had this enthusiastic vote where I was like, no new wars. He's going to keep all his promises. And even if Trump wanted to keep his promises, you just realize how deep the rot in the system is. And it's like, do we even have a fighting chance even when we have someone like Trump on our side?
No, okay, that's a good point. And I kind of bring this up because, like, last night, people want to know how you can predict that it wasn't going to be enough. So let me show you a couple of my evidences last night. As the ceasefire happened, listen to what Mark Levin was saying about this. By the way, imagine being Mark Levin. I wrote, it went pretty viral. Imagine being Mark Levin. That's crazy. Listen to this.
The truth too. So we have a ceasefire. I hate this word ceasefire. I really do. The president hated it a few days ago too. What's needed now is this, in my humble opinion. Iran should be forced to sign a surrender document, unconditional surrender.
Okay.
They lost their nukes. They've lost their air force. They have no ground-to-air protection. China didn't step in. Russia didn't step in. Not a single Arab country stepped in. The supreme Nazi is hiding in a bunker, much like Adolf Hitler did. Adolf Hitler wasn't thrown a lifeline.
Yeah, he died in Argentina after having several children. So there's that. But like Mark Levin, so this happened, by the way, and Mark Levin was saying, by the way, to remind you, Mark Levin, a classic American with a classic American, background. He was saying, you ceasefire, a ceasefire. I hate this word, ceasefire. You know what I mean? I hate it. Dude, I hate people who sound like you. Unclog your nose. Get a septotomy, or what that's called. Just get your nose clear, sir. There are surgeries. But right after that as well, even crazier than that, check this out. As things were going, we got images, by the way, of the Arabs, and they clearly didn't lose. Check this out. That was crazy. I saw that one now as well, too. They were fine. So there was further evidence. Taking that off, that's a real picture, by the way. People were saying, there's no time for jokes. Oh, you think I would ever joke? In the middle of the night, Avi Yemeni, which is a classic Westerner from Australia, another classic Westerner, said this: the Iranian terror regime just shattered the ceasefire. This is 15 hours ago, by the way. It's time for Israel to finish the job. Khamenei has to go. No more second chances. Which is funny because if you go down here, after this was happening, by the way, Joel Berry, of course, was defending people. He was saying, over the last few days, the Israel haters on the right have shown they have no ability to govern. They're emotional, hysterical, fearful, paranoid, weak, and fickle. By the way, so now he's coming against Americans. So now he's talking about the anti-war right. We have no ability to govern. So like we actually can't even be in power in our own country. We are so bad that we can't even be in power. This is what the
Well, good
jokesters
thing we're
say.
not. Good thing
Yeah.
we're not. You know what I mean? Good thing we don't control our own military because we're just not smart enough. Good thing Israel does that.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you this.
I actually sent you a live picture of when
you
they
have
heard
it?
there was a ceasefire between
Okay, let me
Lindsey
see.
Graham and Levin, Mark Levin. You'll see actually
yeah.
their reaction right there.
So that's
That
when they were
was-
finding out there was a ceasefire?
Yep. That's live live photo of
Okay.
it.
That's real too, by the way.
Yeah, haters will say it's CGI or AI, whatever, but that's
That
an
might be
actual
too
photo.
much hair on Mark Levin's face, actually. So let me see that. Too much hair on his head. No, but on a jokes aside, he said the world is a safer place since Trump ignored them. So this is how quickly they call us panicans, us reactionaries. Trump says that the world is now safer because now there's a ceasefire. Clearly, that's not true. Even Trump today looks panicked. But what I want to bring up is their obsession with being loyal to Israel, their obsession with their foreign policy makes them blinded to logic and reason, which is why, this is my point here. When this happened, I wrote this. Oh, I love this too, by the way. The OG MAGA. OG MAGA, John Bolton. Okay, anyway. Make America Healthy Again, James Lindsay. His tits are getting big. Look at that. You see that real fast? Those are huge. Genuinely never felt gayer than, is it wrong to be attracted to man's tits? But actually, no, but going down here, I go, America's thinks tonight is a W is why we are hated in the world. Being comfortable being the world police bullshit is long-term national suicide. Protecting Israel at our cost while our country crumbles inside, it's tiring. If you buy the endless war propaganda, that's on you. Now, what happened was I lost over 1,000 followers after this post. People like Joey Salads, who is popular for like pooping on people or something, right? He's a prankster, I think. Do you remember Joey Salads from YouTube days? No? No one knows Joey Salads?
No, not familiar.
Joey Salads said, admit you were wrong. You are just moving the goalposts now.
Oh, is that the guy that ran for office?
Yes.
Okay,
and
I
lost.
know who you're talking. Yeah.
Wrong on what? What I said was incorrect. Here's what he said. Literally, your entire feed. I go, you said I'm wrong, then point to my entire feed. Feels like COVID all over again. You always like, what am I anti-science? Your life. And then people are saying I'm wrong. And you go down here, it's like the real fatigue. And someone down here was like, the retards are cheering. But some people are like, someone's like, say you were wrong. Don't be a bitch. And this is what was happening. This wasn't satire. People are like mocking this. And this was happening with everyone across the web. You saw this too, Sarah. You're in a different time zone, so at least you could track all this.
Yeah.
But they were mocking us last night, being like, Trump tweeted, therefore it is the truth. We need to have a real confrontation in the right wing of Trump supporters like ourselves. I voted for him in all 3 elections. I believe he won all 3 elections. I was a part of Stop the Steal. You almost went to prison for 5 years protesting him on January 6th. You were pardoned. We show by our lives that we supported this guy, but this blind devotion to him is not what I'm worried about. Everyone's like, so you don't trust Trump? What I don't trust is that Trump is not controlled by Israeli money. And then what Seth Dillon said today? Someone said, these anti-Israel haters are blinded by their Israel hate. And he goes, they're anti-Jewish. So he's so obsessed that you can't even disagree with Israel's manipulation of our politicians without being anti-Jewish, therefore anti-Semitic. I'm tired of this race-obsessed, racist right wing that makes everything about Judaism. Can't we just leave the Jews alone? Can't we just focus on Israel a little bit and Zionism? Can't we not just focus on this and say, hey, Seth Dillon, leave the Jews alone, you race-obsessed grifter who can't stop talking and bringing Jews into your, amalgamation of hatred. Can you let the Jews rest and just go to their gay parades and have sex with other men, in Tel Aviv? Can you let them do that in peace? Can you let them put their falafels where they want to? Because I'm tired of you dragging them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. It's like all of these people who are claiming that we're not America first or we're not MAGA, because we want Trump to stick to his promises, which is why we voted for him, and which is why we said we were MAGA, why we said we were America first. It's like all these same people didn't even want Trump to win the primary in this election. Like, these are the exact same people who wanted Ron DeSantis to win. If you like look back in time just a little bit, like a year or and a half ago or something, none of them even supported Trump. They all hated on him. So it's like, who are you to try to redefine what MAGA means? It makes no sense at all.
Yeah, and what they try to do is, as we mentioned before, on the show last night, is they play a shame game. What they do is they try to use words to make it demoralize you, take away credibility. You know, if you speak about the Israeli government, then all of a sudden you hate all Jews, just like we seen previous in Black Lives Matter. If we didn't like them, rioting in our streets, looting the stores, then then you're racist. Same thing with what happened in 2020. If you went against it, you hated grandma. So what they do is they try to use these words to manipulate us, to control us, and to get us to follow their path as much as possible. Even like with trans, if you're against trans, then you hate all gay people. So, and the one thing with this is it's not working anymore. A lot of these are losing their sting. When they throw these types of comments at us nowadays, it kind of just brushes off our shoulders because it takes away from any kind of realness to it just because it's overused.
Okay, yeah. So by the way, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're on Rumble, and also to like our new YouTube channel. We're Rift TV. And by the way, I'm really happy. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers. We started 13 days ago, and we're almost at 4K. So like less than 2 weeks. You can be one of the top subscribers, literally one of the first subscribers. Please, the reason why I'm telling you guys to subscribe is because if you're on Rumble and you're watching right now, you're like, okay, hey, I just put it right now in the chat. Why would I subscribe? Send this to your friends and family. We're going to be big on YouTube again. Remember, Sarah also has a channel as well. It's Sarah Stock on YouTube and Rift TV. You can always throw it in the chat there in Rumble as well, by the way, Sarah. You should always check that out and throw it in.
Definitely subscribe. And also, I just dropped a new video like 2 hours ago. It's actually a really interesting video. It's kind of on this topic. I interviewed this guy named Conrad Franz. He's a host of a show called World War Now. And it was an interview about these different Eastern Orthodox prophecies about basically World War III and the end times. It's kind of crazy. Some of these Orthodox saints have like predicted all of this happening. And so it's kind of just like interesting to hear what they say will happen next. So check that video out.
Check it out. But as we talk about that, I'll remind you, we are sponsored as we're not monetized anywhere, particularly by this awesome company called Van Man. You got to check this out. So Van Man is a company that stands for all the values you stand for, which is like not just being this, like, you always hear like Patriot Water, Patriot Air. It's like, what does that even mean? How about an ethical company that creates products that are good for your whole family? I got a crunchy wife, got a crunchy family. My kids are the crunchiest little white kids ever, blonde hair, blue eyed, and I don't even understand what we're cooking at home. It's just like homemade sourdough. I don't even know where we get the yeast from. It's like apparently we teleported it through Stargate. It's like everything's got to be original, OG back in the day. And why do we care about our food, organics? We don't care about the products we put on our skin. Our skin is our largest organ in our body. And they produce products that are free of all the cancerous, carcinogenic, and toxic chemicals like fluoride, as well as different types of parabens. You get no SLSs, no sulfates at all. And by the way, their beef tallow moisturizer is the best-selling product, free of any type of products that could be harmful to pregnant women, to children. This is a moisturizer that can be used by men, for men. It can be used to keep your face from cracking in the sun. And by the way, my favorite product is their zinc sunscreen, which is free from carcinogens. You can get it directly from their website. All of their products are even in glass and metal tins, so they're like plastic free. It's actually fantastic. And you can get their products 10% off at vanman.shop/Elijah, vanman.shop/ELIJAH, or use the code Elijah. I think, is it stock or Sarah as well you can use? I don't know what it was. What is it?
It's stock
for me, it's stock. It's just STOCK.
Yeah, so you can use Elijah or stock, and you can show Sarah that you want to sell the product for 10% off. Should they use the code stock, Sarah?
Yes, they should.
Yeah,
Please.
use stock.
Use my code. Don't use Elijah's code. Use mine.
So stock for 10% off. All right. I want to play this. What's kind of crazy is like everybody, all the plan trusters were saying, okay, hey, we won. We got rid of their uranium enrichment. It turns out that the United States actually doesn't know where the uranium is. Mm-hmm. They moved it out of Fordo, out of the bunkers a long time ago, and we didn't even damage the bunkers. I have old colleagues, people that I helped make famous, or at least they used to be famous, who've like just adopted this BAPsphere bullshit, and it's embarrassing, you know. Like I like them as people; they're nice people, but it's just embarrassing. Like the whole like Trump is never wrong 2016 mentality is stupid because Trump sold out to the to MAGA, right? And even he realizes, like, you know, when you realize you're full of shit, you ever have the male walk of shame? Like you do a bunch of cocaine, or you like are in college and you like black out and you look at your phone and you message your ex from like 5 years ago, that kind of feeling. And like you wake up and you're like eating a breakfast sandwich, you're like shaking, and you realize you're like, hey, am I retarded? You know, you're like, am I this dumb? You know that no one knows that? Or you wake up like 6 a.m. realizing what you just did last night. You're like, shit. Trump had that moment, right? Where he's like, oh, man, it was a really good idea in the moment. That's why I refuse to believe Trump isn't drinking these days, because like it makes total sense. Like, hell yeah, we got 4-0. We did it. And he wakes up, he's like, fuck. Oh, wait, it's Israel and Iran. Ugh, they don't actually get along. They don't do anything they say. Arabs, Semites aren't really nice people. You know, the Arab side or the Jewish side, they're usually pretty dishonest. So he realized that, and then it turns out that J.D. Vance gets asked a basic question on friendly Fox News, which is pro-war, by the way, about uranium, and even his shape is changing. He's aged 12 years since the last time I saw him.
Piled on that eyeshadow, though. Look at that.
It's sexy, honestly. Slit my wrist and bomb my Fordo. All right, listen.
You said totally obliterated. The president has said totally obliterated the Iran nuclear program.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure where all the highly enriched uranium is?
Well, Brett, I think that's actually not the question before us. The question before us is, can Iran enrich the uranium to a weapons-grade level, and can they convert that fuel to a nuclear weapon? And we know, based on the success of our mission, of course, the leadership of the president, but the incredible skill of our military, that the two mission objectives are completely successful.
Okay, wait. Let me replay that real fast. Listen to this. Listen to this switch. This man's been married for a long time. Anytime a man can switch up like this, he's had a wife. Listen.
You said totally obliterated. The president has said totally obliterated the Iran nuclear program.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure where all the highly enriched uranium is?
Okay, wait. Basic question. Let's go to the back here. If you were to answer, Mendoza, very simple question. Do you know where the highly enriched uranium is? What are the two acceptable answers that would answer that question?
Yes or no?
Oh, that's, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a round of applause. Can we get a round of applause there? That's the kind of thinking we get here on the show. Let's see what he said.
Well, Brett, I think that's actually not the question before us. The question before us is, can Iran enrich the uranium to a weapons-grade?
So the anti-panickers, the Baptards, were saying, he got him, bro. I feel so vindicated. I'm just go back in my, look at this. Literally, when this was being announced, I put up a tweet that I also lost another 500 followers for, which I thought was really funny, by the way. If we go down here as this was happening. And it was this one. Look, we did it. This time, we really did it. Time to pack up, everyone. No more violence in the Middle East from here on out. All American troops are withdrawing. No more predator strikes. No more bloodshed. Terrorism will cease. Migrants will stop flooding. Hallelujah. Mission accomplished. Ladies and gentlemen, that was right as it happened. And I said, sweet, sweet victory. We did it, Joe. We did it. I feel like I don't know why people continue to mock us, like as if we don't know the playbook. Sarah, I know we have the book club. People know we've delayed it 2 weeks. I'm sorry. I've been traveling. It will happen this Sunday, but it's like, it is funny reading Buchanan from several years ago, 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And he's basically telling us like, dude, hey, this was going to happen. And they're just going to keep going in circles. Remember what they said? It was a 12-day war to slow the spread of the nukes. That's what they said.
Giving me flashbacks of 2020 right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, they said that they went ahead and they got rid of all their equipment and it was all destroyed. But from what I'm reading online, Iran saying it's only slowed them down by 2 or 3 weeks. But the White House has come out and they're disputing it, saying that's not true. So, I mean, it's up in the air right now.
Sarah, what do you think about this? I feel like it's just all stupidity. It's like the same thing over and over again.
Well, it's like, yeah, if you really think that this conflict is just over now, I don't even know what to tell you. It's like, if you think that Israel has never violated a ceasefire before, you should probably look up how many they have violated. because yeah, that's not going to happen. It's like this conflict has already started. There's no going back. This is what I think.
Yeah, well, all I can say is quite frankly, it is. So I'll leave this to Mendoza here. You know exactly the kind of people I'm talking about, the kind of people that say that we had, theater kids in office. It's like, it's not even interesting. Like when you hear there's a ceasefire, it's like actually not interesting. But I also find it to be ironic that last night, I mean, I've lost thousands of followers, people saying, the war is over, buddy. There's peace. Trump said it on Truth Social. The only pettier than unfollowing someone over a Truth Social post was listening to NPR talk about it today, and they're not even mentioning Truth now. They're calling it Trump's social media app because they don't want to give it any brand recognition. That's our taxpayer-funded dollars, by the way. But I feel like, you know who I'm talking about. These people are like, they've like lost in such a way that they're just holding on to like Peter Thiel and Palantir's dollars, that they're just sort of like, what even are they? Are they even relevant? What are they even doing? Do you know what I'm talking about? These people, like, who are they now?
Well, it's also just, I don't understand how they're saying we're wrong. It's like, what exactly were we wrong about? We said that Israel is going to drag us into a war, and we said that it would be a bad idea for America to get involved. So what are we wrong about exactly? I don't get it.
It's this one. I like this as a graph. We spent 3 hours making this graph for you guys to explain how these people think. This is really hard. We put this together. So Joey made it. This is
some good artwork there.
Joey made
it.
So
they're like, no. It wasn't a war. Two countries were just striking each other, and America was funding it, and also America kind of joined in for a bit. But also, it was never a war. And the 12-day war is over, but it was never a war.
Yeah, Trump would never get involved. Just kidding. Trump is just posturing to make a deal. Iran is actually a threat to America. Airstrikes don't count. We need to keep America safe. Here's what I thought was funny. So a lot of people posted something like this, but I did love this one. So I was told all week that we were never at war, but we just won one, by the way. So we were never at war. I was told all week that I was posturing.
When the wars were not in.
Yeah, we were never in it. However, I was also told that Iran is a serious nuclear threat to the United States. However, they were such a weak country that they were destroyed in 4 days, and that they have no air force, no nuclear capability, no ICBM capability, and that they're actually such a poorly constructed country that within 4 days we could take out the entire nation, yet they were such a threat that we had to fear going to war with them. But we never went to war. However, we did go to war and we won it, and everyone should celebrate. And you're like, does it ever get confusing worshiping Israel? Does that ever confuse people? Like, being loyal to a country that's not your own, do you ever get tired? Do you ever sit there and wonder, why am I such a hopeless human soul? Why is it that my country doesn't get ahead? Your country is crumbling. And by the way, my thought last night was this. When I watched people saying like, bro, we did not have a war. We had strategic military strikes for 12 days. When did neocons brainwash Americans to think that using hundreds of millions of dollars, of equipment and tens of millions of dollars of explosives to strike a sovereign nation over multiple days and several hundred hours is not considered war? Bro, it's just strategic striking. You deserve everything you get. You deserve to not get your transplant. You deserve to not get your VA bill paid for. You deserve to be homeless. You deserve to have your kids turn gay. You deserve to have terrorist attacks in your streets. You deserve it. If that's how you think, you deserve it. You know, Hassan Piker was right. Some Americans do deserve bad things because you believe the lies. You believe the lies that this is how it has to be. It was like, well, Iran had nukes and we had to disarm them. Really? That's what the options were? Because last time I checked, you know what they said about North Korea too? If they had nukes, we'd all be dead. Mm-hmm. And Kim Jong-un, the only thing he's gaining is weight. You know? The bro needs insulin, not an incursion. You know, he doesn't need an invasion. He needs actual diabetic injections. Poor guy. If he's not having sex with the virgins, he's killing them. The guy's crazy, but hey, it's like, dude, can we stop acting like this is an insane thing? You know, Israel wants, no country in the world wants to destroy other countries in the area outside of the United States than Israel. And they have over 200 nukes. allegedly, and they haven't used any of them either.
No.
Like, do we think that anyone's going to really
Yeah.
use this stuff? It's actually mind-boggling that anyone believed this when just like 90 days ago, the DNI said that there was no evidence that there had been any weapons production since 2023.
It just makes perfect sense that Iran would want nukes because obviously Israel has nukes and Israel has taken out so many of their proxies recently and done regime change. So it's like they need, I feel like Iran just strategically would need to have nukes to be able to defend themselves. It doesn't really mean that they're getting nukes because they're just planning on bombing New York City. I don't really think that's the goal here because obviously they wouldn't do that. Like, you think if Israel didn't exist, Iran would just randomly pick a fight with America when we have like the strongest military in the world? That would just be stupid. And they're not stupid. Like, people are pretending like Iran is just, it's like 5 guys on camels in a desert with machine guns and they're just like crazy terrorists and everything. It's like, okay, they do have some people. I'm not going to say they're good people, but they do have people who are, you know, intelligent enough to run their government that don't want to threaten the existence of their country. So they're not going to do anything that reckless and stupid. It doesn't make sense. It's like, I don't know. People are so stupid to believe that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is too is they've been doing surveys, and 60% of America actually does not agree with the war at all. They don't want to be in war with Iran. We want to focus on American values, but we're continuously dragged into this. And not to keep bringing up the book club, but you know, a nice thing to read about it when you read Where the Right Went Wrong, or someone said Where the White Went Wrong on there. It's basically talking about how, you know, Bush changed our mentality as far as like, you know, we had a lot of these neocons who were pushing hard. He gave his speech at West Point where he's talking about, okay, now we need to become preemptive. We need to attack other countries. Anybody who has a nuclear program, we need to attack them. We need to take away all our enemies. And we just started putting ourselves in these endless wars, which is majority of the time is for Israel. And talking about the nuclear program, Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually, she put out a tweet today talking about how JFK was the one person who stood against the nuclear deal with Israel, allowing them to have nukes. And we all know how that turned out for JFK.
Well, apparently they talked about how it was a bit of a mangly situation. You know what I mean? Something that you wouldn't want to deal with in front of your wife. You know what I mean? It could be traumatizing because women get traumatized, especially when your brain's blown out by Mossad. However, it is funny because a lot of people, I want to talk about the conspiracy here. People saying this was completely fake posturing, that this was all just set up because Trump got taken off guard with this attack from Israel, and he kind of got control by saying, we're going to have to all look like we know what we're doing. Because Trump now just said this. This is actually really funny about the West's idea of this liberal utopia, right? He is asked about things. Now, look, he's back looking young here. He looks good. He looks like a Chad here, honestly. This guy looks great. You got Marco Rubio in the back just hoping we kill more brown people at their weddings, you know? Has any brown children died today? Trump was asked about Iran, and now he says they're not going to have any nukes. They're going to be a trading nation. This is what the world has become. This is what there was a man who warned us about this, right? He warned us that, you know, the West would become about the economy. Now, the West being about the economic output is not a Eurocentric idea. To tell people who are new here, you know, a lot of you guys, we're on the front page of Rumble here. We have like, you know, several thousand people watching us across platforms. You know, you're here invested, and a lot of you guys are new to these ideas. Like, what do you mean by Eurocentric ideas? Meaning, Europeans value the systemic preservation of our culture, right? Of high trust society. We don't measure the enjoyment or the value of our daily experience based upon money. So everyone in this room has money, right? Everyone can buy food. Some people can buy more food. Some people can buy different kinds of food, but we're able to buy food. We'd be considered wealthy all here by the global standard of wealth. But we've all seen one thing. Despite having different incomes in this room, our quality of life has all gone down. And I'm not talking about the fact that we can't still buy nice things, or that our phones aren't working well, or that we don't have access to clean water. I'm talking about the fact that when we all can't afford private flights. We're not that, no one in here, this room's that wealthy. We can't afford flying private. We all deal with the Shaniquas. And once the Shaniquas got unleashed in the airports and we all had to deal with them, the Shaniquas is a form of TSA agent. You have the cadets, and the Shaniquas. They're ranked 1, 2, and 3, by the way. And once you deal with them, no matter how much money you have, you're going to wish that maybe you did traffic people. Maybe you did get into the cam girl business. Maybe Andrew Tate, I'm joking, wasn't wrong. Because maybe it was worth doing all the exploitation just to not have to deal with these people. Jokes aside. The world has gone to shit. And our quality of life, our interactions have gone down. We've replaced quality with diversity. We've replaced meritocracy with inclusion. And we have this horrible way of life. Now, why do we have that? It's because, of course, we traded our quality of Christian civility for financial fractional banking capitalism, which is a non-European way of life, right? That is a non-Eurocentric value. It is about the value of how much money can we trade. It is an esoteric, ethereal idea of people who do not value their daily life. It's all about the hypothetical reality of money and numbers. And Trump saying something like this is not capitalism. It is called cronyism. And he states here that now Iran is valuable because they can't have their own sovereign identity. They can be a trading outpost. We're in Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. Your value is based on how much value you can trade with the sand people. Listen to this.
President, did Iran make any commitments yesterday about uranium enrichment?
About what?
About uranium enrichment.
They're not going to have enrichment, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they know that. They're going to get on to being a great trading nation. You know, they're very good traders, and they're going to be a great trading nation, and they have a lot of oil. They're going to do well. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
So did they promise?
The last thing on Iran's mind right now is nuclear weapons.
It's a pretty rough flight there. But I don't know. I kind of want to go to you guys. I mean, that was a little bit of a diatribe, but it is funny. It's like, you're going to be a trading nation. That's what America is, right? America is a trading nation. Australia is a trading nation. Canada is a trading nation. Your identity, your people, they do not matter. Your culture, your language, it's not important. What matters is, do numbers go up? And if the numbers are going up and the trade value increases and your stocks are on the market, then you are a part of the global hegemony. And to me, it's disgraceful. It's what's causing the degradation of our societies. You know, God created thousands of miles of desert and more than that of ocean to keep certain people away from our continents. And now they're here. Apparently, we're bringing more of them. And because it brings the numbers up, apparently. I don't like it. I want out.
Yeah, I mean, I want out of a bunch of people coming here as well, if that's what you're saying. You know, a lot of these people that we're bringing into our country, they don't share the same values with us. They don't have the same, morals at all. So yeah, that is a big problem that we're running into, and we're seeing that. We're in a society now where everything is locked up. You know, we were just in California covering the riots, and we had to take our book bags off before we entered the store because they're just scared of everybody robbing them. People just don't have that same moral compass inside of them. Everything is off. And there's a reason why, countries should be separated from each other. And I'm not saying that I'm against all immigration, because if you come here legally, if you're actually someone who's bringing something beneficial to this country and not here just to take, steal, rob, and take advantage of our women, then, if you're here on good purposes and you came the right way, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I don't want to see us get wiped out, because what you're seeing is that it's a great cleansing of trying to get rid of all Western nations. All white nations are trying to be, pretty much washed out, so they're easier to control. If you have a country of a bunch of random cultures, random beliefs, then it's easier to, there's not as much unity. So that type of environment can be controlled easily by the elites.
I don't know, Sarah. I don't know if you agree with that, but I feel like that phrase is eerie, that we're a trading country. Like, what does it even mean?
Yeah, I find it weird. I kind of like what you said about the fact that these aren't really Western values, but I was thinking about that and I was like, honestly, the sad thing is it is kind of Western values to just view things through an economic or material lens. I mean, that's why all of these liberal ideologies and these materialist ideologies like capitalism, and when I say capitalism, I don't mean capitalism as in just having free markets, but I mean capitalism as in seeing money and capital as the end goal of everything that we do, and that's a moral thing and a moral way to live your life. I mean, it's not Christian. It's not a Christian ideology, and it's obviously taken over the West, and that's why we had, the Enlightenment and all these things came out of Western Europe, where the East has always been a bit more mystical, and even just like Eastern philosophy in general has always been more mystical, and the West has been more material, but it's like we've kind of reached the end of that, where it's like that's what America is. America's philosophy, like its founding philosophy, was never really Christian. It was always materialistic because it was liberal. And so it's like, I don't know. I don't think we should be like going back, try to be like, oh, let's try to go back like the OG America. It's like, no, we kind of just need to like reform America and reform the way we view things. We shouldn't be seeing, money and prosperity as like the end goal of our nation. Well, that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, but it's not really true. Like, okay, look, we run a show here, and things are always tense in the studio. Sometimes people don't even come with clothes on, and we have to call the police. That's mostly Joey, but that's our editing team for you. But I mean, like, it's always tense in the studio. We're trying to produce real content. We're trying to stay up to date on what's going on. We have to, we have contracts with news organizations. We're trying to get things out, and at the same time, you have to realize sometimes, like, in the midst of getting all the things done, everyone knows this with your family, right? Whether it's raising your kids, your marriage, life can become about actionable items, right? About things you have to do, right? Executions, right? So it's like, what do you have to do? When do I have to do it? And everyone knows that a marriage can turn into a partnership, and that's very dangerous, right? Everyone knows that parenting can become somewhat of a military order, right? Work can become a drag or a commitment rather than a passion. And it is like important that there is a balance of knowing that you're passionate, that you care about things, that you're in love, that you do, you enjoy your family. A lot of families I know, dads wear themselves out. They want to kill themselves because they're working so hard to build a life for their family. They don't realize that the only life you have is today, right? That's very sad, but a lot of men never learn to just live today. They want a good marriage tomorrow, but they never know how to enjoy their wife now because she's a nagging bitch. No, but I'm kidding. But the reason why a lot of men don't know how to do is because they don't know how to deal with it, right, in the moment. So they always dream of the future. A lot of men are like that. We're very idealist, and we think about the future. And it's something we can work towards, but in the moment we're very unhappy, very isolated, very alone. And I think that happens a little bit with our country too. We dream a lot about what our nation could be, what we could form into, but we don't think a lot about what it is today. But I try to do that, and I look at my interactions in the day, and it's often people get mad at me when I'm online, talk about how bad interactions are at fast food and at the airports and in Ubers, and how how degraded things are, just basic customer service, and the way that the quality of products are. What's her name? What's that blonde woman who's old, but she looks young? Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly. Sorry, she's very talented. I have nothing wrong with her. I just didn't know she was so old. Megyn Kelly. How do you spell her name? Megyn. Dang,
it's with a Y. Megyn.
Oh, is that how you spell it? M-E-G?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, Megyn Kelly, who, by the way, that's kind of weird. She follows me? Okay, that's cool to know. Megyn Kelly put up an interesting picture today about a rug that she bought from Target. And this is where white women are kind of awesome. Listen to this. She goes, I've got some concerns about my new area rug from Target. Okay, well, it's made in India. That's the first warning. That's what I thought this was about. And then it says, care, vacuum regularly, comma, do not use beater brush, comma, blot spills promptly, comma, spot clean with mild cleaning solution, comma, do not bleach, comma, professional rug cleaning, comma. I'm like, okay, there's too many commas. Look what it says up top with the fibers. Made of miscellaneous scraps of undetermined fiber content, which is a very short Indian way of saying there's a lot of human hair.
We just use rags to make this.
No, that means there's hair and animal content in there.
Are you
human
sure?
Hair. Yes, Sarah. Yes.
Are you sure?
They dig up corpses and they use the hair and they shave the heads and they use it to help make rugs.
That's true.
Oh, that is.
There's no way.
I hope you look at what your rugs are made of, which is why we buy our rugs from Iran in my family. I'm not joking. We buy our rugs from Iran. They put hair in their products. See if they use hair and animal hair and stuff. It's disgusting, actually. Yeah, it's actually disgusting. And it's not good. I've seen an entire documentary of how they use hair in India. It's really gross. But whatever. My point is like Target has products with undetermined products in it. Undetermined. We have no idea what we're even getting. And Target's selling that to you. That should gross you out. And that lowers the quality of life to such an extent that it's like, I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't really like a world like that. I want to remind you guys, by the way, as we talk about that, don't forget, Speaking of products you do know, and we do know what's in them, I'm talking about Man's Edge. Now, many of you know that we do have a problem with testosterone in our country. People are not living up to the standard to which they were called. They're not living at a way their libido's down. They're a lot of men out there, you're not getting erections. You're not able to perform for your wife. A lot of men are not interested in their wives. They're not interested in sex. That's a problem. If you're a man, you should be interested in being a man. And on top of that, not just your sexual libido and even your interests, and your ability to procreate, but men's grip strength is down. They don't have actual muscular strength. Their muscle density is down. They don't have a lot of will to fight. All these can be signs, including fatigue, of low testosterone. Now, of course, my friends here at Neutronics Lab created Man's Edge, which is a lab-tested, clinically proven, American patented delivery system to get you all of the clinically proven ingredients direct to your bloodstream that help with natural testosterone increase. You've heard of fenugreek, you've heard of NO2, you've heard of IGF, the products that you can take orally, buy over the counter. Well, when you take them orally, they don't absorb into your bloodstream. They actually break down in your digestive tract. So you need to either inject them or take them sublingually in this sort of liquid format. Luckily, it's not only in a liquid format to be a sublingual delivery, it has a patented carbon system that allows full absorption, 98% absorption, and up to 46% increase in testosterone to get back your strength, your libido, and what it means to be a man. Pick up a bottle, buy one, get one free right now on auto ship at ElijahIGF1.com, ELIJAH, IGF, the number 1.com. That's ELIJAH, IGF, the number 1.com, promo code ELIJAH. Plus, you get an additional 10% off. So that's 2 bottles for the price of 1 plus 10% off. It's at cost, but they know that even at cost, you'll be willing to continue to buy the product because it works. And it actually does. You'll find yourself finding improvements in all areas of being a man. Check it out today. Plus, they have other products you can get if you want to sleep better, including their Sleep Miracle, which is absolutely fantastic. Pick up a bottle at ElijahIGF, the number 1.com, promo code Elijah today. So I want to weigh in on that.
Or you can also use my code.
What is your code? Your code is
which
Sarah?
is Sarah. Yes.
So we have stock on Van Man and Sarah on Man's Edge.
Yeah.
If you want to be a man on edge, use promo code Sarah. No, but jokes aside, I do want to talk about that though. It is kind of crazy, like when he says being a trading post. That is one of the hard parts about this with Iran. We're gonna switch off this topic in a second. Go to Austin Metcalf, but it's like, do we really want the world to be just an opportunistic center of trading? Is that what we really want?
No, I don't think so. I mean, as far as that comment goes, I know he's trying to make a positive light out of the situation, but no, you want it to be much more than that. I mean, that's pretty much what I have for that,
All right.
I don't have much on that one.
All right. Anyway. All right. Let me go to this. All right. So speaking of that, next topic, this is actually kind of crazy. So, speaking of us being wrong, let's go ahead and let's get into some cultural topics for today. We're getting back into the race wars with Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. It looks like there's been some new developments, as they told us he was just looking for some bread. I don't know what they even said back in the day, but they said that a white man, they stole his iPhone, right? So they said he stole his iPhone?
Yeah.
He stole his iPhone. He was defending himself. Let's get into it. All right, Carmelo Anthony charged with first-degree murder over a high school track meet stabbing. Listen to this from the very reliable TMZ.com. Sorry. Look at these pictures. Which one of these is the murderer?
Dun, 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 dun.
All right.
Dun, dun.
Carmelo Anthony, the teenager who allegedly stabbed and killed a 17-year-old at a high school track meet back in April, has been officially charged with first-degree murder. Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis announced the news just minutes ago, explaining a grand jury indicted Anthony earlier Tuesday. The 17-year-old athlete, as you know, has been accused of taking the life of Austin Metcalf during a dispute over a seat at the University Interscholastic League's District 11-5A championship on April 2nd. For weeks, Willis said in announcing the indictment, "My team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury. Today, I summarized the evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Carmelo Anthony, which they did." With the indictment, he continued, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our part fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. The trial schedule will be set by the court but when the time comes, we'll be ready. Willis' office announced that if Anthony is convicted, he faces up to life in prison. Probably should be executed, honestly, according to, state law or federal law, I should say. But Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, issued a video response a short time after the indictment came down, and he stressed his client's actions were self-defense. Quote, "We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard," he said, "the jury will reach the right conclusion and the justice will be done." I don't like, and I don't feel comfortable with those kind of phraseology distortions, the right conclusion. Let's just say that they will come to the truth, right? They will come not to the right conclusion, they'll come to the reality, or they will see the facts and they will determine the truth from the facts. It's like they'll come to the right conclusion, meaning there's obviously going to be a pressure campaign to make this guy seem innocent.
Yeah.
Why is it that we defend everyone in this country, including illegals, rapists, as long as they're brown, right? Or they're black. But Daniel Penny, who's white, we can't defend him because he's Caucasian, because we have to make white people feel bad. It's a Kalergi plan. It's a replacement. And if you talk about it, you're a racist. This is sick. This is a murderer, an alleged murderer that we're trying to defend because we just don't want to convict black people of crime. It's maddening.
Yeah, and we see it time and time again, as you mentioned, all over the news. Anytime it ends up being any other ethnicity besides white, they try to push everybody through. They try to, lower their bonds, get them out immediately. But then as soon as you have someone like Daniel Penny, who is actually protecting people from a guy who is, obviously on drugs, trying to attack other people, we persecute him. We treat him like he's the biggest villain on earth. I am hoping that, they drop the hammer hard on this guy. This whole scenario is crazy. It's sad to see that this young man lost his life because of this behavior from Carmelo. And the way the media and everybody portrayed it was like as if he was like some good kid. You even seen that they had the GoFundMe or whatever it was. They raised millions of dollars for this guy so him and his family can go get him some new Jordans and stay in a nice house. So it's just crazy to see it. And one of the things I found interesting too that I learned about today was the one guy who was representing him, not the gentleman they were talking about there, the lawyer, but the one gentleman who was representing him actually had a history as well of child abuse, had a history of domestic violence against his partners. So I guess, they work perfectly hand in hand.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know, Sarah, if you agree with that, but it's like, I think we're just tired of this, where it's like, it just reminds me of like when I was at Cal State LA and they were egging Ben Shapiro. It was a long time. Isn't that crazy? Like back in like 2012 or something, right? It was a long time ago. It's not good. I was like in college, like 2011. But back when I was in college, they were egging Ben Shapiro, so I became familiar with him. And I
wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, well, you should read the comments about you during the Man's Edge commercial and maybe get some realize exactly what you're dealing with. Apparently, people are crazy. And so my point is that people were crazy, then they're crazy now, right? They're absolutely insane. However, you weren't born. I was 11 years old in college. So you didn't even realize that. I'm a smart guy. I was 11 years old. I was in college. And thanks be to God, that was the Trayvon Martin times. Remember? Like, it was like, he just had a pack of Skittles. And you see him, he's like, I'm going to kill you, man. And you're like, oh, well, by the way, just so you know, having Skittles in your pocket doesn't necessarily make you less of a critical threat. Like, I don't judge a threat on the street based upon how many sugar-coated snacks are in his pocket. You know what I mean? It's like, but he had M&Ms on him. Well, he could murder me because, there's no correlation between the owning of snacks.
Yeah, how does that make any sense at all?
They're trying.
That's what they've been doing. Anything they could get. He was buying Skittles. Do you know that serial killers do eat things? Jeffrey Dahmer did.
Well, they try to paint an innocent picture. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. We've seen the same thing in England when you had the guy that, committed murder or whatever, and then they showed him as a little kid in the videos.
The Welshman.
Man
from the Welshman.
Yeah, it's like a picture of him with a book bag on. It's him when he's a little kid. It's far from what he looks like now. And we see it time and time again, too, where the media try to cover it up. Even when we have these crimes committed, if a white person commits a crime, then instantly you're going to see in the news, this white man did this. If, say, with a car or a knife, whatever, stabs somebody or a white man ran somebody down, the second that you have any other ethnicity, they switch it up and they'll be like, well, the car did it. The knife did it. And they leave out the fact of who they really are to try to protect a certain class, instead just try to put us as being the biggest threat to America, which is the biggest lie.
Yeah, I think the thing that sucks about this is because the right wing kind of blew up this story about Carmelo Anthony and made it such a big deal in the media. And that really was us, because I don't think that they were getting all the donations on the GoFundMe before, I guess, like the right wing started blowing the story up. And then it kind of just spiraled from there. But it's like, because now it's a big story, the judge is going to be even less fair, or you know what I mean? We're not really going to get the justice that we otherwise might. We might have had a little bit more justice otherwise, but now there's going to be all this external pressure to basically give him a lighter sentence.
I agree with that. I mean, listen, by the way,
it's kind of like we screwed ourselves over, you know what I mean?
Yes and no, but I also say, it might be a little bit of a shorter show tonight, by the way, unfortunately, guys, just because I'm in the middle of moving, and we also have to go take down a crib apparently we go take down a crib. I didn't know that. It's gonna the movers tell me right now. But anyway, that's what that's the fatigue I'm talking about. It's like, you can't take down a crib. It's like, I don't know how to do that. And you're like, really? You can't unscrew some things? Anyway, maybe we should stab them. That's like the craziest idea that he ever had. It was like, someone's asking me to move, I should stab them. One of the reasons why I feel like, have you guys ever seen the new AI, like Nissan Altima AI? Have you seen that?
No.
Well, okay. I don't even know if it's on here. So there's a lot of this new like racist AI that's coming out, and it's being used. People are really talking a lot about how like absolutely horrible it is. The problem is that it was made to exaggerate, to make fun of the racial tensions in the country. But what was rather weird about it is that if you read the comments on the post, people don't know that it's fake. No, but it is true though. It is actually funny watching like that dead ass. The whole point is the Ultimate driver crashes into everyone. It's like, it's not my fault. I saw a video where she like crashed into a plane flying in the air, and she's like, get out my way, dead ass. It's not my fault. Yeah, you're paying that. I'm not giving you my insurance. It is kind of it's kind of crazy with this fatigue is that like, people have sort of have found creative ways to let out their fatigue. And never in history has any culture ever experimented with this integrative, multiculturalism that we experience on a daily basis. And I just don't, I've always asked people what the benefit of this has been, societally in terms of the quality of daily life. And I usually get answers about food, like they love the food, which is crazy because I cook chicken tikka masala at home too. Apparently, you have to be an Indian from India to cook the food. There's no such thing as the internet. You can't download the recipe. There's no way. There's no such thing as a Silk Road. You can't
no authenticity.
You can't buy the spices. There's no cumin.
There's no such thing as Taco Bell.
Correct, ladies and gentlemen. My intestines wish there wasn't, but it does exist. No, but like I think it's just kind of weird with this Carmelo Anthony stuff, where it's like, I think this experiment of forced integration has been a failure, and. If it's not been a failure, then I don't know what a failure is. That's why I feel like they've changed the definition of what failing is, even in school. Because like since they have this No Child Left Behind policy, right, which we saw under the Bush era, which we're living in the third Bush term right now, but it's like I never saw this to where you end up having individuals who are no longer allowed to fail. You saw that, right? They don't let people fail anymore. So we've redefined what failure even means. And because of that, we don't even know what a society failing is because no one's left behind. We all have to move forward together. It's very slow, tedious, it's painful, but it's like Carmelo Anthony, if we have to sacrifice the lives of young white men on the altar of multiculturalism, so be it, because that's the price we're willing to pay. I'm not willing to pay it anymore. I think a lot of Americans are over with this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of people are tired of it. We definitely have a problem in our country. Statistics are being altered all the time. They hide the truth of what's really going on, how it falls on a certain demographic where you see majority of crime. And I think we are getting tired of it, especially after the whole BLM stuff that we got put through. I mean, that was enough of a burnout as it was. So I think, yeah, we're reaching a boiling point. Do I think it's every single person? No, I don't think it's every single person, but there is definitely a problem that we're running into.
Do you think we're over
I feel
with
like
this?
that's something that. Oh.
I was asking you. Do you think we're over with it? You think we're fatigued past the point?
Yeah, I think we're fatigued, but that was a good point you brought up about the fact that like we've kind of redefined failure, and that's really how it is in the education system now. Like, because people are always talking about how DEI is leading to these lower standards, but no one's really talking about the fact that it's been like 5 or 10 years, or maybe 10 years or so, where teachers don't like to fail students out of class. So it's like someone can go all the way through high school and have a high school degree, and it's like they basically failed every single class. And then they're just like getting into universities because they're like diversity hires or whatever. But it's like, it's kind of concerning, you know?
A little bit concerning. You think so? Can we all four be on? I want to bring Mendoza on the screen really badly. I do have a question for you from Chicago, actually. This is a real question, because you and I grew up in you know, what they call fucking retarded cities. Mind my language here, but it's true. You grew up in Chicago, I grew up in LA, and I still think with all the minority ethnic enclaves, everything we had, I remember them failing students when we were younger. You could fail classes and get left behind. Like, were you still experiencing that in Chicago? Because I did in LA. That was like a real thing. Like, you could fail classes.
Yeah, no, there are people that failed. I remember in my freshman, so we specifically had a building just for freshmen because so many freshmen had failed because a lot of them were in gangs. So, yeah.
Nice.
That was my whole school. That was literally, it's bad, the school I went to. There was 40 of us in the school, and it was all the kids who got in trouble a lot growing up. So,
and like I mentioned, if you're just new to the show, we usually have a dress code on the show, but I'm moving today. It's just too much. It's too much. However, you want to hear a really nice text? My wife texted something very nice. I don't like to read this stuff, but she said, "Hey, I know you're having a bad day and you're really stressed out, but I just want to let you know you've done a good job of looking after your family today. The boys are happy. They have beds to sleep in, and I'm enjoying a yummy dinner with our son. I won't say his name. We were all safe and looked after. They've had a fun day. So thanks for dealing with the minorities, and thanks for working hard so we can have a comfortable time until we move into our new home," which is very, very nice. And that's all you want women to be, is just help you to have a very peaceful time, a nice time, and make your life at home. And that's what we want for a country, just like a peaceful country. You know, you're in business. You don't want you don't want chaos on the streets. You don't want chaos when you go to order a coffee. You know, you don't want like I had a KFC chaos. You know, it's just like, you just don't want the Shaniquas giving you this chaotic experience. Like, you know, I'm already eating GMOs. I'm eating seed oils. Let me just like eat them in peace. You know, why do I need your attitude with this? Anyway. That being said, a few super chats we have here today I want to touch on. Mavdick 1996 at $5. Get an air horn there. Let's go. This $5 is going towards the Trad Sarah Fund. Quote, Trad Sarah Fund. Go find a husband, quit working, and raise a dozen Aryan children. The white race needs it. Let's get a round of applause for that one. That gets a round of applause.
How much did he give me?
$5.
How much did he give me?
$5.
Oh, well, that's not enough. Maybe we'll have to give a little bit more.
That's true.
He's trying to prevent. Get married.
It's the Trad Sarah Fund. Are you giving any, Joey? Giving any to the Trad Sarah Fund? I might. Okay. He said he might. Roflu 1804 sent $1. Just gets a silent crickets.
We still appreciate it, but yeah.
Hey, Ligger, sending you a test dono. I think Rumble's messing with my ability to send them. Yeah, maybe, but we got it. Bloodshot 567 sent $5. Said, wait, air horn. We need a Sarah Stock and Anna Press collab. True Aryan Queens. Hey, Mendoza, what do you think about our Aryan Queens?
Definitely from South Europe.
You know what I love about being a guy? Is like, you know, like the shittiest day in your life, everything sucks and it's terrible and you hate everyone, you want to kill yourself, and then you just go on camera and you don't drink a buzzball on screen, and which is gay, by the way, so you wouldn't do that. And then you look like shit. I found out that my movers packed all my toiletries, which I thought we were leaving. They kept the crib but left the toiletries, by the way, which is great. It's like,
Nice.
sorry. They kept the crib, took the toiletries. So I don't have any of my toothbrush, anything I need in my thing that I set aside, that was supposed to be set aside in the bag that was specifically labeled do not touch. But we have a crib now. We have to somehow get out of the house. I was like, you still just make a show, because I like hanging out with you guys. And that's actually kind of true. Like, there is a little bit of a cathartic nature. This is what the EHOs get a problem with, is that they end up like creating this weird diametric relationship with their audience that should be reserved for their husband. And a lot of guys also don't have friendships with other men because they have friendships with their audience. I think that's weird. I think that's why I like panel shows, because it's like you could be your friends, you're in a room hanging out with each other talking, But we
Who
acknowledge
does that?
you're here.
You need to name drop some people.
Everybody. Every freaking
We just don't have a
person.
social life here. We just go to work every day and
It's called being a man.
Yeah, that's about it. We've been today's we're going to hit like a 13-hour day today. So
Yeah, well, you've been helping me move since the morning, so
Yeah.
good on you.
I was gonna say, speak for yourselves. I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Well, we actually work, Sarah. we actually we do the job. We don't just collect the check. So
Oh, Mendoza's lighting a fire. He's lighting a fire to his ass over there. No, there will be a collab. I'm going to be out of town the 15th to the 25th with Hennessy. Won't see where we're going, but we'll be out of
I'll
town.
have to work then. I'll work during that time.
Yeah, she'll be here. She'll be here with Anna. They'll be actually co-hosting the show with Mendoza and a couple other male guests. Brandon will be in, and it'll basically be like Brayden and them for like a week. So that's pretty cool. Homer J. Fuentes, let's get a Sarah Cam, $50 in the chat. Well, let's get. Can we get us some confetti, please? Oh, let's go.
Yay! Thank you.
Typically, the bailiffs have to remove a piece of clothing. We don't want to have lawsuits. Although Brayden, can we talk about Brayden's removal of his shirt, please? Can we talk
you
about
haven't
this?
stopped talking about it all day.
I
I just
missed
been like,
that.
can you stop bringing this up? And every time you're like, you could watch the clip again. I don't want to watch the
Wait,
clip
can I
again,
tell you,
Elijah.
I
Nobody
didn't-
else
wait,
needs to be
wait,
taking
wait.
their shirt off.
I didn't say I want to watch again. Joey keeps sending it to the chat, the clips, and I don't know why. Watch. I'm going to ask him right now. Ready for this? I'm going to play it right now. Joey, what's the timestamp of him shirtless? 137. Look, he knew it. He knew it. Wait. Is he right? Hold up.
Or it's 139.
Hold up. Is this real? Wait. Is it real? Hold up. We're going to find it. Oh, yeah, he was right. What the hell? Okay, look at this. This happened
Joey.
last night. Look at this.
Money doesn't even go to me. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen.
I love you. No. What the fuck?
Oh my god!
All right, ladies.
She's about to fall out her chair.
Dude, why was she so into it?
Look at this. Oh my God.
That's what I was laughing at last night. She was like, "Oh my god!" She was like, she was losing her mind, and I was like, that's like a former Bush. Is that she a former Bush administration? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she worked for Bush.
She was thinking about the Bush.
She was thinking about some Bush, and that was crazy. I was like, she really liked Brayden. I don't think Brayden understood that. I don't think he knew what a MILF hunter was.
She was going to show him. She was
That
going to
was-
say, hey, Hercules Jr.
You know, his dad was Hercules.
Yeah.
That's like actually kind of. You used to watch him on TV.
Yeah.
Too
when I was
much. You
younger.
told me it was
All
a
the
real
time.
obsession.
Yeah, it was posters on my wall and just every time. No.
Yeah. But didn't you know? But you did used to watch it when you were a kid. It is kind of like a bit like endearing to your dad's Hercules, and then you're trying to get MILFs to like you. You know, it's a very interesting. There was a really awkward part of the show because it was the best part about the show last night was we were going, hey. The whole joke was that when you give $50, you got to take off a piece of your clothing. But we've been wearing jackets on the show, so the joke was you take your jacket off. But like, no one even said anything. It was like, oh, it's $50, and he goes, so I got to take my shirt off. He immediately just like brought it up. So am I taking my shirt off? And I was like, you
He
can.
wanted to do it.
He wanted to do it so
already know he
badly.
wanted
I can if you want me to. Just saying. I'm in the mood.
Yeah, someone said he couldn't stand up. That's actually great. Also, someone said the bodybuilding show at Bohemian Grove was worse, which is actually objectively true. We went over that. That was actually absolutely kind of crazy. Elijah Fire said, I'm shirtless right now, Sarah. We don't want to know that. We don't care. That's inappropriate. All right. That being said, but that actually was actually the best part about that was that how old is Liz? 45, I think, in her 40s.
I don't know.
She definitely liked young men.
Yeah.
And we like Liz. I love her. She's
very
fantastic.
nice. Yeah.
She was excited. I don't want to play it again, but if you ever want to watch it, talk to Joey. He knows the timestamp, and that was definitely hilarious. I would love to get his dad on the show, though.
Oh, that'd be
Hercules
awesome.
himself.
Yeah.
Mr. Sorbo would be great. Speaking of that, did you guys also see the Rob Schneider retweeting Fuentes and then deleting
Yes.
it he was like, you guys gotta listen to this guy. He's so smart or something. And he deleted it like an hour, like a day later. And he was like, I thought that guy's name was Bryant. My bad, or something.
Yeah, because the guy who posted the clip, his name was Bryant, and so I guess he probably like knew like, oh, Nick Fuentes is like blacklisted, never talked to him, but he probably didn't know what he looked like or something, so he just shared it, and then I don't know. I thought that was so funny. I was so shocked when I saw that he shared that clip.
Yeah, me too. Actually, that was definitely on my weird moments there. That was actually, I saw it too. I was like, that's very odd. That being said, we have a lot more that we're going to be covering tomorrow. Usually we will be doing an extra segment on locals as well, but I have to continue moving. We got to move some stuff. We're going to go over some of the stuff tomorrow as well. So typically we'll be around, but today's a little bit of a shorter show just because, again, I'm moving houses. We'll be back to normal length tomorrow, which will be fantastic. I appreciate you guys being around here. But as typical, if you want to support the show this Sunday, make sure you send in a picture of yourself before Sunday to mike.mendoza@rifftv.com. We'll be giving away one of these amazing Kindles to some individuals who need them. You can take a picture of yourself reading the book, Where the Right Went Wrong, or you can take a picture of yourself watching the original episode, which is now 2 weeks old. But we are going to do it. It's just that we were traveling, and again, I apparently allegedly did not try to bring a firearm onto a public transportation and get almost arrested. So that didn't happen. However, and I had to take an Uber home. That was more money than a plane ticket. So that's true too. That's really unfortunate. But you got to pay money to make money. So that's what it is. That being said, I'm not reading any of the comments about Sarah currently in the comment section, except for the fact they said, Sarah, you are a wonderful woman of God. Hallelujah for you. May you serve Jesus Christ and be sanctified in him, said the entire chat collectively. Thank you, Elijah Fire, for that holy and wholesome message. Sarah, speaking of that, of wholesome messages, if people want to find you and follow you, make sure you guys also subscribe to our Rumble channel if you're watching. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to our Rumble channel. I'll post both in the chat. You can be one of the first subscribers in our chat here. Let me see where we're at, actually. We are so close to hitting our 4K. I think it says right here that we are 18 subscribers away from hitting 4K. That means by the morning we should hit 4K. If you want to be one of the first 4,000 subscribers, go subscribe now. It's in the chat. If you're on X, anything, it's called a Rift TV. You can check it out. And, of course, Sarah, you have a YouTube channel. You have an X account. How can we find you and follow you?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is just my name, Sarah Stock. Definitely subscribe to that. Honestly, I don't even care about my social media. Don't even pay attention to that. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch my latest video because I think it's underrated at this point. Super interesting. The guy talks to is like extremely smart, and he's talking about these crazy Orthodox prophecies about World War III and everything. It's very cool. So please watch that video. Share it if you want. And yeah, my social media is just Sarah C. Stock on both X and on Instagram. And once again, my code for igf1.com is just Sarah with an H.
Yeah.
Don't forget the H.
Check it out. You got it's called, what's it called? Anyway, I don't know what her URL is though. But you use Sarah. Anyway, Hennessy.
Just Sarah, igf1.com.
There you go. Go ahead.
It is. All right. You can check me out on Instagram as well as X at snowflake_news. Just put out daily stories. I'd love for you guys to come check it out.
And Mendoza.
Yep. Follow me on Twitter at Mike Mendoza JPG, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. And the rest of you guys watching, don't forget to subscribe to Locals. We've been doing extra content every day. But like I mentioned, I've got to go continue moving my house. We're trying not to cancel any episodes if we don't have to, ever. So I'm trying to make sure we give you the content every single day. Shout out to everyone who was involved in this. It's been a rough day for everybody. Confusing a little bit because I haven't been in the office. And I appreciate you all. Shout out to Joey, particularly, for writing this episode, producing this episode, creating the live streams, and designing the backgrounds. So thank you so much again for that.
Brandon's timestamp for you.
And the timestamp for me as well. Yeah. I'm glad you knew that off the top of your head. Thank you, Sarah Stock, my guest tonight. To the rest of you watching, we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here only on rifttv.com, Rumble, YouTube, and X. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great rest of the week. And may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.